Good afternoon. This presentation is titled Legalization of Sports Betting, Marketing Integration on U.S. Casinos. MHA 639, Casino Marketing. University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Summer 2018. This presentation is by Emer Driscoll-Dunn. To begin this presentation, let's look at a brief introduction, history, and legalization of sports betting. Sports betting has been a widely popular gambling experience, as seen first in Greek and Roman times, and since the 19th century has become immensely popular worldwide, and especially in the United States. Horse racing was the first popular sporting event to entice people of all economic and social backgrounds to participate for the action and excitement. The sport of horse racing itself drew attraction during the late 19th century, but the possibility for people to win money on a sport that they enjoyed enhanced the attractiveness entirely. As quoted in an article titled "The History of Sports Betting" by Darren Heitner, the popularity of horse racing reached its peak in the early 20th century, and by this point, baseball had seen a dramatic increase in popularity and subsequently betting. The advancement of sports betting in recent history has expanded into a multi-billion-dollar industry. Within the United States, sports betting and the evolution of bookmakers and sportsbooks thrived in Nevada since 1931. Until the recent Supreme Court ruling in May 2018 to overturn PAPSA, the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, only 4 states within the U.S. could legally authorize sports betting activity: Nevada, Delaware, Oregon, and Montana. With the advances in technology, online sports gambling has been immensely popular, especially within the collegiate and professional sporting arenas. But these websites are largely based offshore in the Caribbean. With the overturn of PAPSA, the doors are open with the opportunity for states to individually pass sports gambling laws and regulations. As states progress to legalize sports betting, the marketing opportunities for land-based casinos in the United States has tremendously increased. Now let's discuss the situation analysis and identify the problem statement. Within the gaming industry, millions of dollars in revenue are generated from sporting events in Nevada that people wager on, such as UFC fights, March Madness for college basketball, and particularly the Super Bowl every year, for example. Not only are Las Vegas casinos generating the revenue from the gambling activity on these events, but also from the integrated resort amenities that the guests are partaking in, such as shows, dinners, and hotel revenue, etc. Outside of Nevada, in states with integrated casino resorts, such as Florida, for example, large sporting events are not being marketed to the gamblers who are participating in sports betting, and the properties are losing that revenue, as well as the revenue generated from the resort and amenities, to offshore-based casino properties with legalized sportsbooks. Let's begin by looking at some strengths of integrating marketing efforts with legalizing sports betting. With the state's opportunity to legalize and regulate sports betting, brand recognition and expansion will increase and contribute to marketing efforts and revenue production. A prime example is the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. Seminole Gaming and Hard Rock International acquired the Miami Dolphins Stadium in 2017 and rebranded it to the Hard Rock Stadium. along with the new stadium naming rights and improvements, Hard Rock Hollywood is undergoing a billion-dollar expansion that is set to be completed in 2019. The timing of both of these brand expansions were purposely planned to be completed prior to Super Bowl 54 in 2020, which will be held at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. The prospect of passing legalized sports betting in the state of Florida would enable the organization to market to a significantly higher amount of potential gamblers and guests with Super Bowl events and promotions. The legalization of sports betting in states with casinos will generate new revenue streams and increase player development, as it will provide more attractions for casino properties to market to their guests. In order to stay relevant and successful in such a demanding industry like the casino industry, casino property marketing departments must always stay current and promote campaigns, events, and outlets for guests to distinguish them from one another. Now let's move on to some of the weaknesses on integrating marketing efforts for legalization of sports betting. Currently, most U.S.-based sports wagering events that are marketed to gamblers and guests are mainly saturated in Las Vegas. With promotions and advertising for sporting events with gambling capability spread out to other regions of the country, competition will continue to increase within the gaming industry. This will inevitably affect a marketing department's budget and expenses for a casino property. With legalization of sports betting for land-based casinos in the country, more money will be needed to market and promote sporting events, such as Super Bowl parties, boxing matches, the World Series, football championships, etc., for direct mail pieces, marketing, personnel, and efforts, and event planning and production. Without the increased revenue from the sports wagering and increase in guest attendance for these events, casino properties may in fact lose money if sports wagering events are not marketed to the property's target audience. For instance, in the Southeast, college football is a staple for the area, and the casinos in this region would want to target the football games and championship events for this sector of gamblers and guests upon legalization and introduction of sports wagering to the casinos in these respective states. After reviewing the strengths and weaknesses, let's look at some potential opportunities for integrating marketing efforts for legalized sports betting. Upon a casino's state's legalization of sports betting, such as Florida, North Carolina, and Mississippi, who currently do not have sports books and have not yet legalized sports betting, marketing efforts will directly increase for sporting events and outlets to generate new business and revenue. This will help to create more jobs and stimulate the economy, both statewide and nationally. Next, tourism to the United States would benefit from a state's legalization of sports betting. The amount of travelers that are currently visiting offshore casino properties for major sporting events, like the Atlantis Casino Resort in Bahamas and other Caribbean locations, could shift and begin to migrate into the United States. This would not only promote economic growth, but also, as quoted in an article titled, "The Advantages and Disadvantages of Tourism" by Paul Goodman, visitors promote international links, which can provide more business and cultural connections in the medium to long term, as well as providing incentives for investment in infrastructure such as roads and rail networks, as well as funding local medical and education facilities. The majority of sports betting in the United States is being conducted illegally, which is untaxed and unregulated funds. If individual states passed sports betting, these funds would be able to be taxed and regulated, which would enable the money to go back to the state and companies that are operating the sports betting facilities. Also, as quoted in an article titled "The Right Way for New York to Legalize Sports Betting" by Mark Liparelli, for cash-strapped states, sports wagering tax revenue could help solve the vexing fiscal challenges that rarely shrink. And finally, let's review some threats that could be caused by integrating marketing efforts for legalized sports betting. The possibility of social and economic changes within the United States could increase if more states with casino properties progress to legalizing sports betting. The easy accessibility of gambling establishments with sports books may contribute to a rise in gambling addiction, mental illness, and instability, and have lasting monetary effects on not only the residents of a particular state and/or region, but also the economy. If these negative changes occurred, it would impact an organization's marketing capabilities and could cause a decline in revenue production. Because of the recent Supreme Court ruling to overturn PAPSA in May of this year, each individual state's ability to legalize and regulate sports betting may contribute to unforeseen changes in local and statewide laws. The state's government would have to mandate and control that the authorizing legalization laws were being executed properly. Now that we have looked at the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, let's look at some alternatives for integrating marketing efforts for legalized sports betting. The first alternative would be to keep the status quo of legalization of sports betting by not introducing sports books and sports wagering into states with established casino resorts. This would hinder marketing capabilities and opportunities for revenue growth and production for the casino properties. Next, the second alternative would be for states to legalize sports betting, but minimize the capabilities and regulate which type of wagers can be made per sport and have more limitations. Lastly, the third alternative for the legalization of sports betting per individual U.S. state is to pass sports betting laws and enable the revenue production to be taxed and regulated. Marketing departments for casino organizations would be able to leverage the sporting promotional events to generate more revenue and new clientele. Now that we have discussed three alternatives, let's look at the best solution for integrating marketing efforts for legalization in sports betting. In regards to the recent changes to PAPSA and the new ability for individual states to legalize sports betting, the best solution is to, in fact, pass and legalize sports betting laws and enable the revenue production to be taxed and regulated. With legalized sports betting, casino marketers will have more leverage to generate revenue through new outlets and sporting promotions for large betting events such as the Super Bowl, March Madness, and the World Series, for just a few examples. After discussing some brief history, background information, and a situational analysis with a solution for the best outcome for marketing integration in legalizing sports betting in U.S. land-based casinos, predominantly outside of Las Vegas and Nevada, the following is information and reasoning from a personal perspective on this topic. After working for Seminole Gaming Corporate and Hard Rock Hotel and Casinos in Florida for the past 2.5 years, this information is pertinently relevant for a few reasons. First and foremost, the evidence for marketing integration for legalizing sports betting state by state is specifically significant for recognized gaming states with integrated casino resort properties that are in a market with direct competition that have sports betting capabilities and regulations. For instance, Hard Rock Hotel and Casinos in Hollywood and Tampa, Florida, are in direct competition with the Bahamas-based casino resorts with established sportsbook facilities, such as the Atlantis and the new Baha Mar Casino Resort in Nassau. During high peak sporting times throughout the year, these properties market and host exclusive watching events, gaming tournaments, and other premier activities over the days of a major sport occasion. Not only are the events well marketed and promoted to their target audience, but also they offer the sports betting capabilities for the guests right on property. This is extremely significant for the Hard Rock Casino properties in Florida, as valued gamblers and clientele are more inclined to travel offshore for these event weekends solely based on accessibility to a sportsbook. The travel time from Florida to the Bahamas is very minimal and is appealing for guests who frequent the Hard Rock properties in Florida but want to access a sportsbook compared to the travel distance and time to venture out to Las Vegas. The legalization of sports wagering and sportsbook accommodations at the Seminole Hard Rock casinos in Florida would drastically increase revenue production and brand recognition with intensive marketing efforts to promote and succeed in satisfying occupancy criteria for these specific high-demand sporting event dates, as well as throughout the year by permitting sports betting within the casino properties in Florida. In conclusion, upon the legalization of sports betting, the gaming industry, especially in target markets with direct competition, has the opportunity to expand marketing efforts for U.S. land-based casinos, which would inevitably help to generate new revenue streams, player development events and production, and overall expansion. This concludes the presentation on legalization of sports betting, marketing integration on U.S. casinos for MHA 639, Casino Marketing, University of Nevada, Las Vegas, Summer 2018, by Emer Driscoll-Dunn. Thank you.